dear students, welcome to YouTube channel Learn with Gisela. In this video of number systems, we are going to learn about laws of exponents for real numbers. Total 8 laws are there which we are going to study in this video. This will help us in solving the questions related to NCERT exercise 1.6, which is based on laws of exponents. So in this video we are going to learn what are exponents, what are the laws of exponents. They are very important to solve the questions. So let's get started. Now, first of all, what are exponents? When we have to repeatedly multiply a number by itself, we raise it to a power, and this is known as exponent. For example, 4 cube is the exponent with the base 4 and power 3. That's why we can write it 4 into 4 into 4. That means we have multiplied the number 4 3 times. That's why it is 4 raised to power 3. Now power in the exponent, that is the power 3 in the exponent, represents the number of times that we want to carry out the multiplication operation. Since in the exponent 4 cube, that means 3 is the power of 4, we shall multiply 4 3 times. Therefore, we can say an exponent refers to the number of times a number is multiplied by itself or the base is multiplied by itself. For example, 4 raised to power 3, that means 4 cube. Now over here base is 4 and the power is 3. That means 4 is multiplied 3 times. 3 times of 4 is 4 cube, which is equal to 64. So basically the expression 4 into 4 into 4 can be written in a shorter way using the concept of exponents. So in this way we can write the following multiplications also in the exponential form, like 3 into 3 into 3 into 3 can be written 3 raised to power 4. 4 into 4 into 4 into 4 into 4 can be written 4 raised to power 5, and similarly 5 6 times if you multiply you can just write 5 raised to power 6. So this is your exponential form. Now there are various laws of exponents that we are going to study now. Now total there are 8 laws. First law is product of powers. Second law is quotient of powers. Third law is power of power. Then we have power of product, power of quotient. We have negative exponent. We have law of identity exponent, and then we have zero exponent. So these 8 laws we are going to study. Now according to laws of exponent, if we have any two real numbers, let's say a and b are the two real numbers, and let m and n be the integers or any rational numbers, then we have the following laws of exponents. Law 1 says product of powers. That means a raised to power m into a raised to power n is equal to a raised to power m plus n. For example, 5 raised to power 7 into 5 raised to power 3 is equal to 5 raised to power 7 plus 3. We will add the powers, which is equal to 5 raised to power 10. Now second law is quotient of powers, that is a raised to power m upon a raised to power n, which is equal to a raised to power m minus n. Now over here we have added the powers, over here in case of division we have subtracted the powers. Like 5 raised to power 7 divided by 5 raised to power 3 is equal to 5 raised to power 7 minus 3, which is equal to 5 raised to power 4. Right, now this was the case when m and n are integers. Suppose I take an example where m and n are rational numbers. So over here let me take 5 raised to power 3 by 2 and 5 raised to power half. Now if I add the powers, 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2, which is equal to 5 raised to power 4 by 2, which is equal to 5 square, which is equal to 25. Right, I can take the case of quotient of powers also. 5 3 by 2 divided by 5 half. Now subtract it, 5 3 by 2 minus 1 by 2, which is equal to 5 2 by 2, which is equal to 5. Right, so this is how we can apply the laws in solving the questions. Now let us move to the third law. Now the third law is power of power. Over here we have one power inside, one power outside. So in such cases we multiply the powers. Whether m is inside or n is outside, it doesn't matter. We have to multiply the powers and get the product. For example, 5 raised to power 7 whole raised to power 3 is equal to 5 raised to power 7 into 3, which is equal to 5 raised to power 21. Similarly, if we have 5 raised to power 3 and whole raised to power 7, So we will multiply the powers 5 raised to power 3 into 7, which is equal to 5 raised to power 21. So in both the cases we are getting the same answer. So we can say that if we have 5 raised to power 7 whole raised to power 3 or 5 raised to power 3 whole raised to power 7, both the cases we will multiply the powers and get the same product, 5 raised to power 21. Now the fourth law says power of a product. In this case we have the product of two real numbers raised to power n. So we can say n is distributed between a and b. So a raised to power n into b raised to power n. For example, 2 into 5 whole raised to power 3. Now 3 is an integer, so it will be distributed between 2 and 5. So we can say 2 raised to power 3 into 5 raised to power 3. Suppose we have 2 into 5 raised to power a rational number, say 3 by 2. So over here in such cases 3 by 2 will be distributed between 2 and 5. So we can write 2 raised to power 3 by 2 and 5 raised to power 3 by 2. Now fifth law is power of quotient. Like over here we had the product, over here we have a quotient. Quotient means A is divided by B and we get a quotient, and whole raised to power n. So again n will be divided between A and B. So A raised to power n divided by B raised to power n. For example, if we have 2 by 5 raised to power 3, we can write 2 raised to power 3 upon 5 raised to power 3. For example, if in case of rational number, suppose we have 2 by 5 raised to power 3 by 2, we can write 2 raised to power 3 by 2 upon 5 raised to power 3 by 2. Right? So these laws will help us in solving the questions. The sixth law of exponent is related to negative exponent, where we have a negative power, and to make it positive we will just reciprocate the base. The base is a, so we will write 1 by a. A raised to power minus n will become 1 upon a raised to power n. For example, 5 raised to power minus 3 if we have, it will become 1 upon 5 cube. Now the logic behind is 5 raised to power minus 3, we can write 1 upon 5 whole raised to power 3. We have just reciprocated the base. Base was 5, we have written 1 by 5. So the negative exponent has become positive exponent. Further also we can distribute cube between 1 and 5. So we can write 1 cube upon 5 cube, which is equal to 1 by 5 cube. Right? So this is how we got 1 upon 5 cube. Further, let us take the case of a rational number, a upon b whole raised to power minus n. Just reciprocate the base, so it will be b upon a whole raised to power n. So minus n has become plus n. For example, 2 by 5 whole raised to power minus 3 can be written as 5 by 2 whole raised to power 3. So minus 3 has become plus 3. Now let us come to seventh law, that is identity exponent, which says that anything raised to power 1 is the number itself. A raised to power 1 is equal to a, 5 raised to power 1 is equal to 5, 7 raised to power 1 is equal to 7. Similarly, if we have a rational number 2 by 3 raised to power 1, which is equal to 2 by 3. Right? This is identity exponent, law of identity exponent. Then we have the eighth law, which is the zero exponent, which says anything raised to power 0 is 1. A raised to power 0 is 1. Similarly, if we have 5 raised to power 0, it is 1. Suppose we have 2 by 3 raised to power 0, it is also 1. Why it is so? Because let us take an example, 5 raised to power 7 upon 5 raised to power 7. One thing is we can just cancel it out, the answer is 1. Another thing, we can apply the law. So according to the law, whenever we have the quotient of powers like this, we subtract the powers. So 5 raised to power 7 minus 7, which is equal to 5 raised to power 0, so which is equal to 1. Right? Or we can just cancel it and get 1. So if we apply the law, we will get 5 raised to power 0, which is equal to 1. Right? Now two very important concepts are there. One is exponential form, other is radical form. We should be aware about them because it's the chapter related to laws of exponents. So we should know what are these two forms about and how to convert exponential form to radical form or radical form to exponential form. You have studied all this already in 8th standard. Let us revise over here. If a be any positive real number and m be any integer, while n is a natural number, That means m can be positive as well as negative, whereas n is always positive, right? So we can say that a raised to power m by n is equal to nth root of a raised to power m. So in general, if we have an exponential form a raised to power m by n, we can say in the radical form, we can read it as nth root of a raised to power m. And radical form is this, nth root of a raised to power m. So finally, we can say the exponential form is a raised to power m by n. Now m, which is the numerator, becomes the power in the radical form, and the n, which is the denominator, becomes the root. So we can say the m, which is the numerator, becomes the power in the radical form, and n, which is the denominator, becomes the root in the radical form. Let us take an example. Suppose I have fourth root of 5 cube. Now over here the 3 is m, 4 is n, 5 is a. So accordingly, if I have to convert into exponential form, I will say 5 is my base, m, that is 3 by n, that is root 4. Right? Now again, if I have to convert back to radical form, I will say this is my n, this is my m, this is my a, right? So nth root of a raised to power m, which I can write as fourth root of 5 raised to power 3, right? M is the numerator, which becomes the power, and n is the denominator, which becomes the root, right? So this is it, children. Hope you have understood the laws of exponents, the exponential form, radical form. In case of any doubt, you can always write to me in the comment section. I'll get back to you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead.